everybody. Welcome to the Hallmarkies podcast. And we're so excited today to talk to another author. We love talking with authors on the podcast. And today we're talking with author Allison Ashley, whose new book, If Tomorrow Never Comes, is coming out. I really enjoyed reading the book. And thank you so much, Allison, for coming on the podcast.
Oh, sure. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to
Yeah,
chat.
I'm really excited to talk with you because I was looking over your bio. I'm like, she's very interesting. Like you're a doctor in your
I'm an oncology pharmacist.
okay,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a
So
very weird, I'm one of those like weird science-y art people.
yes.
In school, I was never that science math person. I'm terrible at math, which I know
Uh-huh.
is weird for a pharmacist, but I was always really good at like biology type science and then
Okay.
English. That's why I'm a scientist, but I'm a writer.
I
So
love it. I love
yeah.
it. Yeah. So, how did you get like started interested in writing?
You know, I it's a question that I get sometimes, and when I actually started writing as an adult, I truly don't remember what kind of sparked this. I think I actually want to try to write an adult romance. But what I can say is it's always kind of been there because I would write little stories when I was a kid. And I actually had forgotten this until my mom found my rejection letter a couple years ago that I actually sent a whole book, like a printed out book in a manila envelope back in like the 90s that I wrote of a little short story about a girl and her horses. I actually sent it to a publisher to try to get published because, I said to my mom, I want to see if somebody will publish this. And she was just, oh, let's try it.
Yeah,
Why
yeah,
not? Like I know this won't work out, but it's a good exercise
yeah.
and like putting yourself out there. And they very nicely sent me back a kind rejection letter. They knew I was a kid and it was very sweet. But so even though I don't remember, to be frank, what sparked as an adult me thinking I actually want to try to do this, I've been doing some sort of it for a long time.
That's really cute. Those are the best kind of parents. And I don't have children, but like if I had children, I think let's do it. Let's go for it. Let's check it out. That's
Exactly.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love that. That's really fun. I mean, did you grow up reading a lot?
Yes, yes. So our family, my parents were always reading, it was when they would come home from work, that's what they would be doing with their time. They weren't big TV watchers, it was just reading. And so I think I kind of got that from them and I did. I found books. I was just a voracious reader as a kid. There was I'm coming back to horses. There was this whole series. There was like 30 books called the Thoroughbred series, and I just
Oh,
devoured those. And then the Black Stallion books, and
oh yeah.
just those kind of
Uh-huh.
those series. And I'm desperately trying to get my kids into some sort of series like that to get
Uh-huh.
their love. But um, always had been a strong reader. I kind of slowed down and stopped during college and pharmacy school.
Uh-huh.
Obviously, I was reading
Well,
a lot
yeah.
of, science, like required reading.
Yeah.
So I really wasn't reading for pleasure much in those years. And it was actually after I got out of my training and was working that I started picking back up reading for pleasure again. And at that point, I definitely went toward reading romance because by that time, I was in my day job of oncology and I just wanted something to come to that was like hopeful and guaranteed happy and that was going to kind of take me into a joyful
Yeah.
place for a while.
It is really cute when you can get kids in it like really into a series. I have a sister that's 18 years younger than me,
Uh-huh.
and when she was little, she got super into those Magic Treehouse
Yes.
books,
Yes.
And I just remember like one time going to the library with her, and she was like 6, 7, something like that, and she she was wanted like it was like number she had like number 15 and number 17
Oh.
and the librarian was like, well, we don't have 16 right now, but you here's 17 and 18 or whatever. And she was just like completely appalled. This
Yeah, like
woman
I can't
expected
skip a
her to
book.
not see.
Yes.
Well, what?
No, like this is not an option. I
Yeah.
cannot read 17 and 18 until I read 16. And those books, there's like a ton of those,
Oh
aren't
yeah,
there?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That
Yeah.
was so funny. She,
Yes. I'm desperate to find find that series that will do that to my children, because I want
Yeah.
them to be readers so bad, and I have yet to find the series that like grabs
Yeah.
them like that,
That
but
gets them.
I'm not giving up.
I was really into, I was a later reader, but I the first book I remember being like really proud of I read this big book was Little Women. That was the first,
Uh-huh.
and I did love Roald Dahl as a
Yes,
kid,
yes.
and that was about as fantasy as I got, was Roald Dahl.
Uh-huh.
Because I didn't like my mom would read us Lord of the Rings and just things. I just, it had to be some kind of grounding, and I
Yes,
loved
that
Anne of
you
Green
could personally connect
Gables,
with.
Little House on the Prairie, stuff like that.
Yep, yep. I
Was
love those too. I
Yeah.
know. Yep. Yeah.
Were you always into romance? Did that always appeal to you?
That, I call it my gateway into romance. My gateway into romance was actually a historical romance novel, like that I picked up in college. Like it was my one of the random books that I read in college, and like I said, I didn't read a ton in college or pharmacy school. But I kind of had a little stint of historical romance and then really didn't read much again for a long time. And then I remember once I got out of and then also the Outlander series was
Oh,
real, popular even back
oh
then.
yeah,
Like they
yeah.
hadn't all the books weren't even out yet. And I did pick those up. So I even if I was kind of reading outside of like the traditional genre, I always wanted something with a love story in it. Ever since I was kind of, a young adult, any
Yeah.
book I picked needed to have some sort of romance thread. I did a little bit of chick lit sometimes, some of the general
Uh-huh.
women's fiction, but I always wanted there to be some part of a love story to keep me interested.
Yeah.
Ho, ho, ho! We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies Patreon.
Do you love Hallmarkies podcasts, especially at Christmas?
Do you enjoy the holiday previews, recaps, interviews, and bonus episodes?
If the answer is yes, please consider supporting the Hallmarkies Patreon. We need your help to do what we do both during the Christmas season and all year round.
But not only do you help a podcast led by strong, independent women by becoming a Patreon, you get to become a part of the Hallmarkies family.
Starting at only $2 a month as a patron, you will have access to our Facebook Patreon group where we talk about the movies, shows, and more all year.
We also have many monthly patron watch-alongs with guests like Lacey Chabert, Natalie Hall, Paul Campbell, Mary Lou Henner, and more, giving their behind-the-scenes details of their films.
As a patron, you also have the chance to provide input into the podcast and even join us at different tiers.
So this Christmas season, spread some cheer to the Hallmarkies Patreon and become a member today. You won't regret it.
Go to patreon.com/hallmarkies to learn more.
That's patreon.com/Hallmarkies.
It's so interesting right now because romance is basically like taking over publishing.
Yeah.
It's fascinating. It's a huge portion of the adult sales right now is in the romance genre category. And I'm curious, why do you think that is? Why do you think that, especially post pandemic, we've really been turning towards
Yes.
romance?
Well, that's kind of what I was going to say is I actually think it's always been like true loyal romance readers. There's really nothing like romance readers
Yeah,
because romance readers are some of the most prolific, voracious readers I've
yeah,
ever seen. Like these folks will read, and I count myself one of them. When I, before I had to spend a lot of my time writing too, when I was like just a reader, and I still am, a romance reader. I mean, I count myself in this. We will read 3 to 4 full-length books a week. Like
yeah.
romance readers
True.
are just machines. We tear through these books, and you can't get enough. And we're the type of people that will stay up till 3 in the morning, because you want to see what's happening. And so that has always been true, but I think what kind of expanded and really just kind of caught fire was during the pandemic. Um, People wanted like everything felt so insecure and felt so kind of scary and unusual. People wanted something comforting and something that they could depend on. And romance is a genre that you know for sure that you are going to get, by the end of the book, a comforting, guaranteed happily ever after. I'm a firm believer in you have to have a happy ever after if it's category romance. So,
Oh yeah.
A lot of people love Nicholas Sparks. He writes beautiful
Yeah.
love stories, but his books are not shelved in romance. And he
Right.
himself says that, I don't write romance novels because
Yeah.
many of his are kind of tragedies. So I think
Yeah.
during COVID, people actually wanted that guarantee of everything is just on fire right now. I want to get lost in a world where I know things will end well, no matter how
Yeah.
bad they get in the middle. And I think that's kind of where it really exploded. And then once people become romance readers, it's like they don't go back.
Yeah. It's true. I mean, it's the same thing with Hallmark. Like once you get on that train,
Yep. Yep.
God. And there's been lots of other people who tried to do what Hallmark has done, and it has not been successful. Because I
Yep.
just it's similar to like once you get on that Harlequin subscription, $6 a month, you're in. You're done.
Yes. Well, and similar with Hallmark with romance novels, like there's some folks that are like, why do you what like why do you always want the same thing or want this kind of formula or formulaic whatever?
Yeah.
But that's actually why people do
Yeah.
it.
Exactly.
Is I I know they're not all going to be the same, but there's parts of this that are going to be familiar and comforting, and that's
Yeah.
why I'm coming to it. Why do
Exactly.
you eat your why do you want your favorite meal when you need comfort? I mean,
Yeah.
that's why you're going toward it. So,
Yeah.
I think sometimes people like to be surprised or like to do something out there, but we also all sometimes want the familiar and want to
Yeah.
come back to our kind of comfort thing. So,
Yeah. So I was looking at your books, and just from the covers, it looked like all of your books have like a medical aspect to it. And that makes sense, obviously, with your career. But yeah, is that just a natural thing for you?
yeah, it's one of those write what you know things, I
Yeah.
think. I think it's a couple things. One, it's what I'm familiar with, and I think it can be a very interesting twist to romance sometimes. Like
Uh-huh.
I did grow up watching like Grey's Anatomy and ER. I mean, I'll date myself with that a little bit too. So, so
Same.
Noah Wiley's back with a new medical show. So I think I do love that can really adds a unique aspect to a romance, but it's also I have a full-time day job. I also have young kids. Like I consider writing a job as well, and I love it, but it is something that I'm adding to my plate. And so a little part of it, to be frank, is also the fact that I don't have time to like research something
Well,
totally
that makes
different that I
sense.
don't know.
Yeah.
And so this is something that I'm naturally familiar with, and I know I can do it well. And it's a little bit of a hook because not a lot of people are writing authentic medical type romance books.
Yeah.
And so I think it can set me apart a little bit too.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I really enjoyed this book. I've enjoyed to some degree or another all of the books that I've had to read for the podcast, but
Uh-huh.
this one I found it quite page turner. I
Oh,
really was quite glued to it,
oh,
and
thank you.
yeah, and I don't always say that. And it, I just think that there was a real like draw into the characters and like what is going to happen. So why don't you tell the audience a little bit about the story?
Yeah. So this story, it kind of opens with a woman named Elliot, and she has suffered with kind of bouts of leukemia. Started as a an older teen, young adult, and it's recurred a couple times in her 20s. And the book opens with her on the night before she's about to get a stem cell transplant, or also historically used to be called a bone marrow transplant. They're kind of interchangeable. We call them stem cell transplants now, kind of in the medical field. Um, and she she knows she's going to be going to the hospital the next day to get this transplant. And I wrote this book several years ago. Things move so fast in the medical field now; it's already a little outdated. But the risks of a stem cell transplant are pretty high, the type she's getting, and so she knows that she could die with this procedure. And so She is out on the town one last night before she's about to get this procedure that might cure her or she might die. um, and she meets this guy, and they have this just incredible kind of random night together in downtown Omaha, but she doesn't want to give him her real name. She's like, I just don't want to, there's no point. I'm going to enjoy this. This might be my last, night to have fun. And so she doesn't leave him with any information, but it just felt like there was this intense connection. So fast forward a year after that, her transplant has gone well. She was cured, and she's actually meeting up with her stem cell donor. So we typically match with folks that are the same age, same sex. So it's a young woman her age, and she meets this donor's boyfriend, who happens to be the guy that she connected with a year ago. So that's kind of the crux of the book, is what would you do if you were presented with a situation where you feel like the person who is almost like your soulmate that you feel like you are supposed to be with, but they're in a relationship with someone who saved your life.
Yeah.
Like I had this idea, and I remember I sat on it for so long because I wanted to write this story and kind of explore a little bit of the ethical conundrum with that, but do it in a very thoughtful way. And it took me many versions to kind of get this book where I think I got it right. But I was trying to explore a little bit of what would you do if you were in this situation? And that's kind of what the book is about.
Hey, this is David from the Piecing It Together podcast, a podcast about movies and the movies that inspire them. For over 4 years, each week, a guest and I take a look at a new movie through the lens of what other movies we think were either an influence or connect in some other way. It's a fun, unique way to discuss films that leads to a great list of other movies to check out that either explore the same themes and ideas or maybe utilize similar filmmaking techniques. Including special episodes in our side series that twist the format, we've done over 200 episodes, so there's bound to be one on a film you've been thinking about and want to dig deeper into. So check us out on all the major podcasting apps and at piecingpod.com.
Was it tricky to know how far to make this amazing night? Like,
yes.
I don't know. I haven't read your other books, so I don't know if you are always a clean author or but if you could have done it like closed door, they have like one night stand. Like, was it hard to figure out, okay, how far do we take this?
Yes, it was. And I'll be honest, the kind of the meet cute, if you will. I don't normally do typically my books don't have this kind of instant chemistry, instant attraction, insta love type situation.
Right.
But I did know that it was critical to establish for the reader. I needed to establish the reader to really feel this connection between Elliot and Jamie right from the start, because I knew I was going to be introducing another woman soon, and she's a nice person. She donated part of her body to save someone's life. Like, she did this incredible thing. So I knew I was going to be introducing her, but I needed the reader not to root for that person. I needed the reader to root for the Elliot and the people at the beginning. So the whole meet cute where they have this incredible night together, and I wanted to include an element of physical chemistry, but I still kind of wanted it to be, I don't know. I didn't want them to have to have gone too far. Like, I just kind of wanted it to be this, oh my gosh, I think this person could be, but leave a little bit of mystery there too. Yeah. So it was very much a challenge, but I just knew I really needed to solidify their connection from the beginning so that the readers were going to root for them even after I introduced Carly.
Well, it kind of has like an affair to remember or kind of vibes in a way. Like, they have this incredible connection. They're gonna meet again. They're gonna, and then all these things gets put in the barrier in between.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that's kind of, that's really the hallmark, no pun intended, of a romance novel is. So,
Oh, yeah.
like we were kind of talking about earlier, a lot of folks are like, I don't understand why people like romance. You know how it's going to end. Like, why do you always want to read a book that they end up together? Or like, what's the point? But
The
that's the
journey.
point, is that
Yeah.
every book should almost convince the reader, like, oh my gosh, how are these two gonna make it work? Like, every romance novel, if it's done well, you as the reader really question, how on earth am I gonna get to that happy ever after by the end? And
Yeah.
so setting those roadblocks in the way that they have to get past to be together is the whole crux of the genre.
Yeah. Well, so it's interesting. You have the female character named Elliot and the male character named Jamie, which is less uncommon for a male, but still sometimes a female name. So I was curious why you did that.
I did this book so long. I've noticed that in a couple of reviews, to be honest. I don't
I have
even
never heard of
remember
Elliot for a girl.
when I am drafting a story and I have characters in my brain. I It's very weird when I'm kind of trying to figure out what their names are. I know I'm saying it in a weird way because it's really like I have this character in my mind and I like go online and I Google. I'm like, I do Google like popular girls' names in the years that they would have been alive. Like if I'm writing a 30-year-old, I'm gonna look at, people born around 1994, whatever.
Right.
I hope I did that math right. I told you I'm bad at math. Um, so or sometimes I'll Google like unique girls' names, and I literally will spend hours just sifting through names, and it'll be like one will jump out at me. I'm like, that's her name. Like, and so it's not even really necessarily on purpose. I just kind of come across one that I'm like, that fits this character. I don't even know why.
Yeah.
So it wasn't even necessarily on purpose, but I will say in one of the drafts, I tried to change Jamie's name for a specific reason, and it didn't feel right to me. Like once I have landed on what felt right for them, I cannot force it.
Yeah.
It's very weird. The characters are kind of their own people
Yeah.
as I'm writing, and so I think just when I came across those names, I was like, that's it. So I know. I hope it.
Uh-huh.
I hadn't really thought. I just got so used to it that I didn't.
Yeah.
And I've had friends, like I have one of my best friends. Her brother's name is Ashley. Like I don't. Once you kind of get used to something, so hopefully it wasn't too confusing.
Yeah. I have to admit, it was a little bit at first. I was like, is that really her name? Just because I have never heard of a woman named Elliot. So that was interesting
Uh-huh.
I just thought it was interesting that for both of them, they had gender ambiguous names.
Uh-huh.
It was just interesting. Was it hard to write Jamie as a character because you don't want him to be a pig cheating on Carly?
Yes. Well,
You
he
know,
doesn't. He doesn't cheat
no,
on Carly. I made that very like that was a big deal to me. But what was challenging was making sure
emotionally.
that there wasn't emotional cheating. I mean,
Yeah.
that was a big thing, and that's why I think that's why the book did have a lot of drafts. Because in one of the early drafts, one of my good writer friends, critique partner, she gave that feedback. She was like, I think this still, like, I'm having a hard time rooting for him because it does feel so. Through a lot of drafts, I really worked very hard to make him um be very kind of like try to be honest and be as good of a person in terms of being honest with Carly and trying to figure out, is this something I need to address? Am I just kind of surprised to see Elliot again and I'll move past it? Like he really does try to do the right thing and do right by Carly. But again, I was kind of trying to explore, I mean, like what would happen if there was somebody that you met that was just this incredible connection, but then they disappeared. So from his point of view, he also thought that maybe this was like, oh my gosh, this is like my person, but then she disappears and he cannot find her for months and he finally decides to move on and he's with this new person. And then when he's with this new person, all of a sudden this original woman pops back up. Like, how would you handle that? So I really was
Yeah.
kind of trying to, sometimes people are real good people and these situations come up and what are you going to do? And that's really what I tried to explore. And it did take me several drafts to get to a point where I felt like he did it in a very honorable way, really kind of trying to think through and really feel like he was treating both women with respect and honesty.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, because he is never like, and Carly knows that he's kind of like, well, I'll give it a shot. You know, he's never like super emotionally invested in their relationship, and she knows that. So that helps a lot.
Yeah. Well, and again, that's kind of one of the changes that I made too, is I was like, I think their relationship needs to be a little more of a convenience thing. So again, it was very hard to get this book right, I think, because and it kind of stretched my writer muscles a little bit. And you know, I actually, when I was looking at the playlist I originally made when I was writing, I mean, it was in 2020. So, I mean, I started this book 5 years ago, and it has taken me this long to kind of get it to a place where I think, you know, it was ready.
We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies merch store.
Are you looking for that perfect gift for the postable, Hardy, or Hallmarky in your life?
What about getting that t-shirt or hoodie that will help you stand out at your next holiday party?
Now is the time to check out the Hallmarkies merch store.
Full of festive designs by artists like Jessica Miller, Carrie from Hallmark Comics, and more.
You can even have more than just shirts, but totes, cell phone cases, notebooks, mugs, and more.
And it isn't just Hallmark. We have designs for Anna Green Gables, Man from Snowy River, The Nanny, and more.
Every purchase at the merch store goes to help support the podcast and allows us to make the great content you know and love.
There are frequent sales, so go to tpublic.com/stores/Hallmarkies or see the link in the description.
That's tpublic.com/stores/Hallmarkies.
So was it hard also then to write Carly as a character? Because you don't want her to be like too sainted, but I don't know, tricky.
She was real challenging. And I actually, in the early drafts, I really kind of made her annoying and not very nice. Like I really kind of made it easy for the reader to hate her, sort of. But then it was hard. It wasn't really believable of why Jamie would be with her. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And so and she's doing this incredible thing for a stranger.
Yeah. So I actually lightened her up a little bit. And actually my next book that comes out in August is her story.
Oh.
So I think it helped a little bit that I later worked out. She deserves her own.
Oh, I'll look forward to reading that.
And knowing that was coming, and through the process of writing that, I think that helped me a little bit see her as her whole person. And because I think when I was originally writing the book, I was so focused on Jamie and Elliot, and Carly was this character who was obviously critical to the story and the whole conflict of this book, but she wasn't really her own person. She was kind of a pawn, you know? So I think it helped me make her a more three-dimensional character that I knew she was going to get her own happy
like in
ending.
the world of this story, her and Jamie both signed up to be donors in college, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And so, and then, you know, so I caught her off guard. Oh, okay. I can actually help this person.
Yes. And that's a lot of times, I mean, because we did that in my pharmacy school. There would be bone marrow drives where you just swab your cheek, and it just that sends off all your, you know, information that they need. And as long as you sign the consent form and have your cheek swab, then you're put in there. And it's just, if one day somebody that matches your, you know, immune makeup, if someone matches you, then they'll give you a call and they'll say, hey, you are in our registry. There's somebody who would match you. Would you be willing to donate? And it could be years later. So
yeah. That's interesting. Yeah. Well, like I said, I enjoyed the book. What would be your pitch to the Hallmarkies? You'll like this book. You should check it out.
Oh gosh. I think, my pitch would be that this is a book that will probably make you cry, but it will make you laugh, and it may make you think. And a lot of folks have said that it's one of the most romantic books that they've ever read. So those, I think, are the hallmarks of an Allison Ashley book, is that there's a lot of deep emotion and some kind of heavier themes, but I always try to balance it with some banter and lightheartedness, so that I never go too far in one direction. So
I mean, it definitely also reminded me of Return to Me. For sure. You know, because you got the donor, you know, the connection. It's not as sad as Return to Me.
Right.
But but it kind of has that same
vibe.
A little bit vibe. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So very cool. Well, we like to end our interviews with some fun get to know you questions. So
okay.
Yes. So the first one is, what is the best ice cream flavor?
Oh, vanilla. I'm so boring with ice cream. I'm weird and I don't like chocolate. So actually that's in the book. Jamie, Elliot doesn't like chocolate. That's from me. I can't stand it. So vanilla is my favorite.
Wow, that's a hot take there. Yeah,
I know.
Yeah.
Like I hate to smell everything. I cannot always, even when I was a kid. I know.
Like all like dark milk, every kind.
I don't even like red velvet. I can taste the cocoa. Like nothing. Yep,
wow,
I know.
That's good. Okay. What's your favorite color?
Green.
Oh, perfect for Hallmark. Very good. Okay. What music are you into?
I listen to my kids tell me I listen to depressing music. I love like singer-songwriter indie, just real like almost like it's so great on the background when I'm writing romance novels. Like especially the dudes with their guitar that are just singing about heartbreak. Like that's my jam. Yeah.
Good. Okay. What's your go-to date night food?
Mexican.
Yeah. Good. Okay.
Get me some chips and salsa and a margarita, and I am I'm a happy girl. Yeah.
What is your go-to date night activity if you're going out doing something?
So I am gonna pull from this book. They actually do this on a date night. I love like going to dinner and then going to like a bookstore. I like really that would just be the like let's just go up and down the aisles, maybe grab a coffee first and just kind of peruse and look at the big like those big hardback books with like, with all the pictures. Let's just stop there. Then let's go in the section where they have the journals and like I don't know, the puzzles and then go, of course, spend some time in the romance section. I don't know.
You must love You've Got Mail.
Yes. Oh, such a classic. I know. Yeah. So and there's actually a date scene where Jamie takes her to the bookstore because they're like, "What should we do tonight?" And they're kind of like, "Man, that doesn't sound good. That doesn't good." And he's like, "How about we like go get dinner and then go roam the bookstore?" And she's like, "Oh, that's it. That's it." Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good. I like that call. There's here in Salt Lake. There's a little bookstore called the Love Bound Library, which you also look it up. It's really, really wonderful. And I'm like, I do think that would be like dream peak date.
Yes. See,
go to dinner.
Like, there's so many conversations that could come up. Like holding up. Have you read this one? Do you like this genre? What do you love about this? Like, even as an early date, like you could really get to know somebody really well through that.
It's true. Yeah. That's true. I mean, that's the good thing about being a reader and also being a movie fan is that I think especially a movie fan, you always have something to talk about.
Yep. Totally.
Even if they're like my parents have watched like hardly any movies. They don't like movies that much, but like they still have a couple. Like you can find, so what's your favorite Disney movie? What's your favorite animated film? Like everybody has something that they can say. So,
yeah. 100%.
It's a good one for dating. Okay, which do you like better, dogs or cats?
Dogs, 100%. Yeah.
Okay.
And a dog takes a serious role in this book too. I am a dog person through and through.
Yeah. So, which do you like better, beaches or mountains?
Mountains. I have a mountain tattoo on my body. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Very good. Okay, what's your favorite holiday to celebrate?
Christmas.
Yeah.
The lights. Oh, I love having the lights everywhere. It's just so bright. That's my favorite.
Well, you can't, I mean, especially as a Hallmark fan, like you can't really beat Christmas because like every other holiday is just like one day or a week, maybe 10 days.
Yes.
Christmas, it's like 3.5 months.
100%. I am that person who wants to put my tree up like in early November and I'll leave it up just because I love having the lights in the corner, Yeah.
All right, last question. What is your favorite Hallmark or romantic movie?
Okay, so my favorite romantic movie is my favorite movie, and it is the 2005 Pride and Prejudice. So the one with
Ah.
Matthew McFadyen. I don't, we're very specific about
Oh,
everybody.
yeah.
I am not the Colin Firth one. I am the 2005 Pride and Prejudice.
It's coming back in theaters in April
Yes.
for the
Well,
20th
and I just watched it
anniversary.
the other day. So I got COVID recently again, and while I was in bed, I was like, that's just my comfort movie. And
Yeah.
I watched it again while I was in my sick bed. I
Good choice.
can't, I have seen that so many times and it never gets old. And it's
Yeah.
such I don't know, it's such a pure movie. And
Yeah.
but it's so romantic. I love it. I
Yeah.
can't, yeah, I can't
Yeah,
move
I
away
love
from
it
it.
too. I am not a traditionalist when it comes to adaptations. I am open to lots of different interpretations as long as you stay like true to the core of the
Yes.
story, and I think that they do. Yeah, there's a lot of like really interesting choices because I think like especially with Pride and Prejudice because it's been done so many times, and the Colin Firth
Yes.
version, as far as accuracy, that's it. You can't do it more accurate. Like
Mm-hmm.
you really can't. And so what do? You have to do something different. And I think what they decided is to make Darcy basically shy instead of being
Yeah.
a jerk. Like
Yes.
he's really just kind of awkward. He's not
Yes.
really.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so he doesn't change that much through the course of the story.
Right.
It's more Lizzie in that movie who does the
Yep.
change, which because Keira Knightley was the star, that just makes sense. And so yeah, I love that one too. And it's just a promo for Hallmarkies podcast listeners. We have coverage planned for this 20th
Oh,
anniversary.
excellent.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's gonna be
Excellent.
super fun. Something to look forward to. But yeah, great choice. Can't go wrong. I mean, especially
Yeah.
Jane Austen.
It's just right up there. I don't know. We'll see if anything ever knocks that off my top spot.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, very good. You did it. You
Yay!
answered all the questions.
Thank you. Woo!
Yeah. So when does the book become available? Where can people get it? All that fun stuff.
Yeah, so yesterday, April 1st was its official release date. So this one was a little weird because it was an Amazon first read, so it was almost like half out in the world for the month of March, but it's publicly
Okay.
available now. So yeah, it's
And
up
it's
for
Kindle
grabs.
Unlimited, right?
It is Kindle Unlimited. It's got an audio, paperback, all that jazz. Yep.
Yeah, you need to get your other books Kindle Unlimited.
I know. It's it's not my choice. When you have a traditional publisher, it's their choice. So yeah. But
Yeah.
the Roommate Pact recently went KU. So
Oh,
that was
good.
something. So that one is on there. But yeah, I wish I could control that.
Yeah, because it just makes it easier for me to read the books. But the Carly book. So you said that comes out in August? Do you know
Yes,
the
August
title?
19th. It's very quick. Yeah, it'll be the same. It's on pre-order, but it'll be the same. It'll be on KU and everything.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
good. I can't wait to read it.
Yay.
And if people want to follow you on like social media, that kind of stuff, how do they do that?
Yeah. My most active account is Instagram, at author Allison Ashley. I am on Threads and I have a Facebook page. I'm not on those as much. So really Instagram is the best place.
Okay,
And
great.
then I do just have a website, authorallasonashley.com, that I'm terrible at keeping updated. So Instagram is the best up-to-date place for me.
We'll have that in the description. People should definitely follow you. And thanks so much for coming to talk with us.
Thank you.
I'd like to thank Allison for coming on the podcast. This was a ton of fun to get to talk with her. Make sure you check out her book, If Tomorrow Never Comes. We'll have a affiliate link in the description. You definitely want to take a look at that. And if you are listening on iTunes, please leave your ratings and reviews. That helps so much. And if you can find me at Rachel's Reviews, all over social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes and Goodreads. So make sure you check that out. And if you're watching on YouTube, please give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate that. And we have our Patreon group, which is the biggest way you can support everything that we do. So we can have fun author interviews and other things that you enjoy, the Patreon group. And we really try to make it worth your while with some really fun perks and monthly activities and other things going on. So definitely make sure to take a look at the Patreon group. And then we have the merch store where we have some really fun romance inspired merch. Take a look at that. And thanks again to Allison. Really appreciate it. And we'll talk to y'all later. Bye.